Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh, we did that together and didn't even rehearse that.
I know, right? Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us.
Would you
right.
look at us?
So, sis, you are up first this week. So, what do you have?
Yes. So, I want to talk about this hilarious movie. I laughed out loud the entire movie. It was hilarious. And there was some part of the movies I was like, this is really sad, but it said with satire, so it makes it funny, you know?
Yeah.
So, the name of the movie is Quiz Lady. Now, you can watch this on Hulu.
I've seen the preview.
Oh my God. I hadn't seen the preview. I just saw Awkwafina and Sandra. And I said, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. First of all, Sandra Oh, bruh, she is a great actress. Shut up, bruh. She is a great actress.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
How she goes from Grey's Anatomy to killing Eve to now she's like the jokester, she's like the person who doesn't have it together in the movie.
Oh,
it reminds us so much of us.
Aw.
Yeah.
So who am I?
Awkwafina.
Oh, I'm Awkwafina?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm Sandra Oh.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
I'll have to see it to see if I need to.
You're going to be like, oh, yeah, you're right. All right. So, the cast is Awkwafina plays Anne. Sandra Oh is her sister, who's Jenny.
Okay.
And then Anne's neighbor is Holland Taylor.
Oh, why do I know that name?
Holland Taylor is married, dated, engaged to Sarah Paulson.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it.
And then you also have Will Ferrell, who is in the movie. And he's actually like a secondary person in the movie, but I love it. You have Jason Schwartzman, I think his name is.
Take it.
Pee Wee Herman makes a appearance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, okay. I love it. So, but those are the main characters. So what it is that it starts off when you see there's these kids. It's like a teenager and a younger sister, and the whole time the little sister is sitting there watching TV, and she's watching this game show, and the host of the game show is Will Ferrell, whose name is Terry McTeer.
Okay, what a name.
Yeah. So from this, she's just sitting there, and she's like all about the game show. So it's just like Jeopardy. It's like the kind of game show it is.
Yeah.
So she's just like every day has watched this show, and her parents would fight, and her sister would be sitting on the phone as like a teenager, and would like hear them fighting, look at her little sister, and then turn the TV up really loud. So then that way she would
drown out
the noise. But Awkwafina doesn't see it as such because she's just a kid. She doesn't see like her big sister is like looking out for her. So her mother ends up having a gambling problem, and her father leaves.
Okay.
So their father's gone. The mother, is supposed to be there. Ends up happening is now it's fast forward, and Awkwafina is a really quiet woman who works for this company, and she sits in a little cubicle away from everybody else.
Oh, very introverted.
Yeah. Oh, she has a watch that says you should stand up or you're gonna die.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I guess like blood clots or whatever. So you see her in her cubicle, and she like pops up a little bit, and then she sits back down, and then she pops up a little bit and sits back down. But she just doesn't like people or anybody that she works with. So, she gets a call from a senior center, a retirement community type place. And she's like, "Hi, Mom." And then the nurse says, "Hey, just calling to let you know, we have lost your mother." And she's like, "What?" And she starts crying. She's like, "No. She's not dead. She's just not here. We lost her." Okay. So now she goes straight there, goes to get her stuff, try to figure out what's going on. And what happens in the background, this is how it starts off funny. Happens in the background, Sandra Oh is walking across the parking lot in this really skimpy, like club type dress that has like the sides out, the shoulders are out and everything. And as she's walking across the street, a Jeep comes and like hits her. She was like, ah!
Oh,
But this is in the background.
So it's not even what you really should be paying attention to.
Because I have no idea what Aquafina was talking to the people about, but it was something about like their mother like breaking the rules or whatever.
Okay.
Sandra Oh finally gets up and it's like cussing the person out and walks up and she's like, oh my God, Annie. She's like, I can't get inside. Open the door. She's like, push the button. Yeah. So what button? I don't see it. What are you talking about? I don't see it. And then she's like, she pushes the handicap button.
Yeah.
For her to be able to come inside. She was like, oh my God, I didn't see the button. That was so much worse than what it could have been. And then she was like, oh my God, Mom. And she was like, Mom's not dead. She was like, wait, what? Okay. And then they end up telling, exactly what happened. They was like, well, did you try this casino or this casino? She tried to play the penny slots now. She's doing this, she's doing that. They was like, oh no. So then they get all of her stuff together to give it to them. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, look, she left a note. The note says, gone to like, Macau.
Okay.
Macau. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gone to Macau with Jeff or something like that.
Okay.
And they're just like, they're sitting there, they're just like, wait, who's Jeff?
Right.
Like, they don't know who Jeff is.
Right.
First of all, you never see the mother this entire movie.
Oh, wow.
You hear the voice, but I can't tell what voice that is. But it sounds like the little short lady that was on Orange is the New Black, which also plays her grandmother in in Nora from Queens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, the little Asian lady or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that what it kind of sounds like?
Kind of like got a grindy voice
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like a Gilbert Godfrey a little bit.
Yeah. So, and it's hilarious because now they're just like, all right, what are we going to do? And she's like, well, I was going to come and stay with you because I thought Mom was dead. So I thought that, like that's what we were going to do and like go like figure out her stuff. And she was like, well, she's not now. And then they ended up like going to the house and hanging out and stuff like that. But then comes to find out that they watched the quiz show together. Yeah. While they're watching the quiz show together, Aquafina's just answer.
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer.
She's like, you haven't. Like, she's been watching this. She's like, I haven't missed a show in, what was it? She said, I haven't missed a show in like 27 years or something like that. And the fact that she has a little dog named Linguini.
Aw, little Linguini.
Who watches with her.
Aw.
So it was like, literally, it shows her sitting down, like laying down on the couch. Her phone goes off. She's like, come on, Linguini. Linguini wakes up from his nap because he heard the phone go off. And then he hops up on the couch and is sitting there right beside her while the show is going on. So she's petting him the entire show.
Oh, she has an alarm for the show.
For the show.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So she's petting him the entire show and stuff like that. So now that her sister has seen this, she's like, huh. And she records her. Mm-hmm. So now she takes it, puts it on the internet. What happens now? She's an internet sensation.
Oh, wow.
And when she walks into work, everybody's like, oh my God, you're the quiz lady. Like, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And they were like, no, you were like killerback whales, like humpback whales, dolphins, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, you just spouting off stuff. Right, and she was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then like more people are just talking to her. She goes and sits down, and then she can hear her voice, and then sees that she's on YouTube.
Yeah, because her sister just put her out there without her permission. It sounds like,
and she's just like, oh my gosh! So she leaves work, and who rolls up on her? Her mom's bookie.
Oh,
hey,
okay.
Where's your mom?
Need the money.
Yeah, she was like, I don't know. And she's like, they're like, okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad we found you from the internet.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But your mom owes us $80,000.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, I don't have $80,000. She said, I know. Neither do I. So that's why I'm coming to you.
Oh, my God.
She's like, my mom's in Macau. Go get her there. It was like, no, we want to get the money from you now because you're here.
Oh, my goodness.
What do? They take Mr. Linguini.
Oh, no, not that dog.
They take Linguini. But how they take him is hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny how it all works out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So basically what ends up happening is Sandra Oh's character ends up saying, look, if we need to get this money, what we got to do is you have to go on the show and you'll be able to win. Yeah, be able to win the money. Mm-hmm. We can get Linguini back and like we can pay off Mom's debt and we can just go ahead and go away from there. She was like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
She was like, I'm good at the show on my couch. She was like, but I'm not trying to do that. And then she ends up having to do it because
For linguine.
No, literally, for linguine. That's what she keeps saying to herself. She says, for linguine. She doesn't care about her mom. Neither one of them care about her mom.
That's why I said for linguine. I was taking it that if she's giving her mom up in Macau, then she obviously
she's in Macau with Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
But it also was so funny. So once they figure out that linguine's gone, Sandra Oh's character calls her mom, and her mom's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Mom, $80,000." She was like, "What? I'm in Macau."
Oh, God.
And they were like, "But Mom, now they're after us." She was like, "Well, come to Macau." She was like, "But there's no free rides. This is my man." Blah 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 blah. You know, she's going off about this, and then Sandra Oh ends up cussing her out. She was like, "Who raised you?" She said, "No one." And then hangs up the phone and throws it.
Oh my
so
God.
I mean, it is funny, but
sounds like it.
Yeah, and it's cute how they like end up coming together and they become like the best of like friends by the end and everything. But it is cute. I love how they put it all together. The comedy in it. Will Ferrell being in it, being like a
Will Ferrell.
No, he's not being Will Ferrell.
Oh, what?
No, he is Alex Trebek. So he sits there with his cards and he's like, "Hey,"
he's very
he has
serious.
Corny jokes. He has dad jokes. Gotcha. Like one lady's like, "Oh, you're from Wyoming. Did you park your horse outside?" And they're just like, "Huh?" He's like, "Okay." "And you're from Idaho. Did you bring any potatoes?" She's like, "No." He's like, "Okay. Well, we're going to go into the next question."
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah. So he's playing like a very like mellow like monotone like person.
Opposite of
but
what you
as
would
a man
expect.
who is like happy with his life.
That is or is not?
Yeah, he is. He is.
He's just a happy-go-lucky guy.
He's just like when he sees people, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And he's like that
living
on TV and then off of TV.
Yeah.
He's the same person.
It's like when the people say, "How are you doing?" They said, "Living the dream."
Yeah.
He's living the dream.
He's living the dream. He's living his dream.
His dream. Might not be your dream.
No.
Or anybody else's.
Yes.
But he's living his
And
dream.
her sister asked her, Sandra Oh asked her, she was like, "So when was the, like, have you never missed episodes?" She said, "No, because Terry doesn't miss an episode." And then she's like, "Not through the killer bees."
Oh,
and then they show him be like, "Oh," and he's like moving all around trying to swat bees while asking questions.
So all the things that
It was
he
like
lived
not
through.
even through frat rush week, and then there's like some kid up there who's like butt naked, like doing squats or whatever, and like right there beside him, and he's just not paying attention. But it was like naming off stuff, and it was just so funny. But I do love this movie. Please go watch it. It is hilarious. Okay. So once again, it is called Quiz Lady. You can find it on Hulu, and I mean, I love it. I'm gonna watch it again tonight.
Are you serious? Now, how many times have you watched it again?
3.
So this will be 4.
Yeah.
Okay. You're addicted. I got it. All right.
When there's something's funny, I need a good laugh.
I got you.
Sometimes you just
need a good laugh.
You just need a good laugh.
And this is your new fixation because it was Maisie.
I'm still on Maisie.
Oh, you're still Maisie will never go away.
Maisie will never go away. Maisie helps me go to sleep.
That's Mrs. Maisel for anybody who doesn't know.
Maisie helps me go to sleep because if I put on Maisie in the background, I close my eyes and I can visualize it.
Oh yeah, because you've seen it so many times.
I know all the words.
Have the show go in your brain and then you're off to la la la.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, I'm waking up and it's a whole nother episode. And what do? Pick up my phone. And then I go put it in the bathroom while I take a shower so I can hear it. Watch it and something like that, All
right. So, on that note.
I'm extra, sorry.
Okay. A little bit.
What do you have, ma'am? Okay. What do you have?
I actually have the movie Rustin. So this is a movie that came out last week on Netflix.
Shout out to Tobalina.
Shout out to my dear friend Toby. So the interesting thing about this movie, and for those of you who have been on this ride with us for a while, you actually got to hear from Toby herself as she spoke about sort of kind of spoke about because it was the strike so she couldn't really speak to it, but just about how she's an extra.
Yeah.
And for this particular movie, now that it's out, now that the strike is over, I can speak on her behalf and say that she actually showed up in the movie a few times, which I was wondering if you saw her.
I just saw the pictures that she sent in the group chat.
Oh, okay. But when you watched the movie, you didn't pick up where she was.
I was trying to figure out exactly where she was in it. So that's why. Yeah. But then also I was like really like into the movie that I wasn't paying attention.
And that's kind of how I felt. So she did a premiere
I kind of forgot
party.
she was in the movie for a second. I was like, oh wait, I didn't see Toby.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is she did a premiere party, so at her home, and so we ended up having the popcorn maker there with making the popcorn. We had some like little drinks and just relaxation, and it was a red carpet.
Yeah, see, Toby is the best of putting events together.
So between her and Janella, shout out Janella, it was red carpet. It was things that looked like it was VIP step and repeats that said VIP access.
I love that.
That you could stand in front of like the blinds basically and take your step and repeat photo. We all had to walk down the runway of the red carpet and pose and, show off our outfits and stuff. Okay. And it was really, really fun and cute. And so we watched the movie. It was really good. I didn't
super good.
In true fashion. The only thing I knew was the little bit that she had said about who Baynard Rustin was, right? Never had heard his name before. And of course, she recorded this a long time ago. So even part of what she had shared, I wasn't really remembering.
Yeah, exactly.
My whole thing is I'm going to be here for my friends. So whether the movie is amazing or whether the movie isn't amazing,
I'm going to tell her that she did a fantastic job.
I'm going to sit right here and watch the whole thing and see my girl show up and show out, right? And so we got so enthralled in the movie because it was truly so good that I was like, wow. Like she finally ended up saying, hey, I think we're coming up to my part because her part is about a march, and I'll get into it in a second. And so basically we all then started looking, and then when she was like, there I am, and we were like, pause, and then we're all like taking pictures of the TV screen, so it's funny. But yeah, it was amazing. And then she was like, there I am again, pause, okay, take pictures of the TV screen, kind of thing. So anyway, go into this movie. So it's called Rustin. It's the story basically of Baynard Rustin. And so he, let me go into the cast first. So we have Coleman Domingo, who's playing Baynard Rustin. You may know him from Fear the Walking Dead because he plays Strand on there, and he's a jerk. Usually. Usually he plays a jerk on there. And so he plays Baynard Rustin. We'll go more into who Baynard Rustin is in a moment. You have Amel Amin.
Is it Bayard? Baynard. It's Bayard.
Bayard. I'm sorry. I'm saying Baynard. Bayard Rustin. Again, because nobody knows of him in history, that's why everybody's messing up his name. So it's Bayard Rustin. Then you have Amel Amin, who is playing Martin Luther King Jr. You have Glenn Turman, who is from, you probably knew him from A Different World and different things, but he was like the older gentleman and all of that in all these different shows. Yeah. So he plays A. Philip Randolph. So some of these names might sound very familiar, of course. Chris Rock plays Roy Wilkins. You have C.C.H. Pounder. You would know her from like all those procedural crime shows.
I was just watching a show with her on it, and I can't remember what the show was.
She was NCIS. She was the forensic person who was in the place when.
But I literally just started watching a new show.
Or was it NCIS or what? Maybe she's done both, but she used to be on CSI. I think maybe it was. But anyway, so she plays Dr. Anna Hedgeman. You have Michael Potts playing Cleve Robinson, Audra McDonald, who I have loved ever since I watched her on I can't even remember. It's been so many things that I've seen her on, and she's a phenomenal singer and actress and everything. So she's amazing. So she's on here, and she's also been
Billie
on.
Holiday, right?
Yep, she played Billie Holiday. She played on how you had, what was it called? The Perfect Wife. Or no, what was it called? When it was the husband cheated on the wife. I can't even think of the name of my favorite show that I was watching on Paramount, where it was the perfect. Anyway, it's the Law Show. I can't think of the name of it. Actually, if I probably click on her name, it'll take me to it. But anyway, I digress. So, but it's so many people who are in this. So, basically, hold on. I'm going to find The Good Fight. That's what I was like. The Good Wife, and then it's The Good Fight. That's what I was trying to think of.
Okay, yeah.
Jeffrey Wright, who had played in the HBO show with gosh, I don't know why. I should have probably looked up all the names of all these things. But Jeffrey Wright played in the HBO show.
Westworld.
I can't think of Westworld. I couldn't think of the name of it. He's been in Batman.
He was. I remember him from Lackawanna Blues, and I just swung away. Yeah.
And he played Representative Adam Clayton Powell. So you just had a bunch of different people. And these are real people in history. Oh, you have Maxwell Whittington Cooper, who played John Lewis, as an example. So anyway, a lot of great real life people in the contribution. So the story of Rustin, Baynard Rustin, is that he actually was the real force behind pulling together the March on Washington. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that Martin Luther King was the one who pulled everybody together, but he was a speaker on somebody else's event.
Yep.
But because he spoke so well, that's the only thing that everybody remembers. So it appears as though he's the one who did it.
Exactly, yeah.
So the movie kind of starts off with Bayard Rustin being kind of like a human rights, a racial equality activist, and he is working side by side by Dr. King. And the two of them are, just
They're
good friends. He's seen the family, the wife, the kids, they call him Uncle, Baynard or whatever. Like, it's that serious. And so basically what ends up happening is Baynard Rustin is... Bayard, sorry. So sorry, Mr. Rustin. But he is gay. And so because he is gay, it ends up being that different people are trying to use that against him in the political arena because of the fact that they're like, well, it's fine that you, and he was openly gay. He didn't try to hide anything, whatever. And so there were people like Strom Thurmond, who had been in the South Carolina Senate forever and was just like, well, we have this person and he's doing this and he's doing that. And he's right beside Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and da-da-da-da-da, and just making it sound like there's something going on inappropriately there between the two of them that was not. And so therefore, Dr. King had to make a choice. Do I continue to kind of be side by side with this person, or do I have to let him go? So what ends up happening is Bayard, he's like, oh, Dr. Martin Luther King, he ain't gonna, let me go. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, that's my boy. Like, I will actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn in my resignation and have him reject it right in front of you, just so you can see how close we are. Well, he turned it in. And it won't reject it.
It was like, thank you for everything that you've done.
Yes. And you could just see the pain in Rustin's face of, oh my God, they got to you too, kind of scenario, Horrible. And so basically he then, has to pick himself up, dust himself off. He's working for some office, blows up on people there, gets fired. I ain't never seen a wife, can I just say this, that I appreciate? Well, not even a wife, a friend, I guess I will say. A friend who, when you tell them, well, I quit that job today, they say, good for you. You should have quit that job. Because
exactly.
And I was like, wow. Yeah, so, he just had these really powerful advocates and people in his life who pushed him towards doing his vision.
Yes.
And based on that, the story is truly about him trying to get the support. When you were dealing with the 1960s, segregation, they're showing all these images of people like sitting at the counter, at Woolworth. You got the picture of little Ruby skipping her way into school. You have all of these things about the Black Power movement and the civil rights movement back then. How he also, before Rosa Parks was sitting in the back of the bus, he had made a stand personally to sit in the back of the bus. Got his tooth knocked out because of it. So it's certain things that about this man's life that people just truly don't know. And this story really brings it out and brings it to fruition. And so anyway, I thought that it was an amazing movie. Basically it's one of those things that this is a person who's all but erased from the civil rights movement. Nobody's talked about him. Nobody's heard of him before. And yet he was so influential to pulling together 250,000 people to come to this event. And that's what the movie is about, is how do you, as just an everyday person, a person in the segregation, a person who's gay, a person who has the odds against them, rally enough troops to be people who are going to go out to churches, go out to people's homes, go out to white organizations and try to get the support of people who are just like, we want to help the cause. What can we do? And having people to sell them on, this is the cause. We need buses. We need hotel stays. If we can't have hotels, we're going to have tents. This is what we need to do.
I love how they brainstormed that part.
Yeah.
But then it was funny. He was just like, how many buses do we need? And what did you say? How many buses do we need for 100,000 people? And she said, I don't know how many. And she was like, oh, you want me to find out?
That's not a rhetorical question.
Okay. I thought it was a joke. She said,
I got to research that. Okay,
got it.
Yeah, and then even how you're working with like the parks and recreation and the police officers, and they're just like, nope. We're not going to support you. We're not going to do it. We're going to hit you on you want to do it 2 days, we're telling you can only be one. You want to say that you're going to do this, we're going to say you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And then it ends up being even that, like he had to figure out how to get basically black police officers to be the ones who would be supporting this event, because the other police officers, like the whole commission was basically like, we're not going to give you what you need. Like, we'll help you out a little, but we're not going to give you everything, because they almost wanted it to be a violent situation. Like,
absolutely.
We don't want you to have where everybody's peaceful and everybody's here having a good time and everybody's here to hear these speakers. Yeah. It was more like the less presence we can have, the better. And so they somehow ended up pulling together all of these police officers, African American women and men. And what was funny is the guy who was like kind of a jerk to Rustin, and very early in the movie, who was like, "Who are you? Da da da. We need to do this. We need to do that." And he said, "You know what? Let's get that guy to get in front of these police officers, be in their face, calling them everything you can possibly call them, and see if they get riled up."
And it worked.
It worked. This guy was no joke.
And then afterwards, he shook the man's hand. All right, man, you did a great job, brother. You did a great job.
But you can see the people getting riled up, like, yo, you call me what? You said what to me? And then all of a sudden, right, exactly. And then all of a sudden, and you would just have, I can't remember if it was Rustin or somebody else, like in their ear, like, calm it down. Like, he's just trying to get to you. Like, you got to keep your presence. You got to keep your stance. He was like trying to help to keep the person out your head, because, things can happen and people can say things and you just never know. And they wanted to truly make sure it was a peaceful event. And so he
thought everything through.
Right.
I swear. So when I was watching this, I looked at this and I was like, so it takes a gay black man to do what a regular black woman would do, but it has to be a man.
I'm confused.
So like certain things that in order for people to get things done, women is harder because nobody's going to listen to you because you're a woman.
Oh, okay.
But he was a man, but he was a gay man. Mm-hmm. And they still listened to him before they would listen to a woman or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's
kind of like they would vote for a gay man to be president before they would vote for a woman. Yes. That's what you're trying to say, like that. Okay,
but they don't realize that that's one and the same. Because a gay man does not think. I feel like gay men do not think the same as regular men.
It's possible, yeah.
Like, gay men are thinking 17 steps ahead, and a lot of women are like that. Like, multitasking and stuff like that. A lot of men do have a hard time doing that. And women are really good at it, but there's like women have been doing it their whole lives. You are basically born to know this is how you have to multitask.
Mm-hmm. And it could be that is how he pulled all of this off. Oh, yeah, because you had to manage so many different aspects of how to pull together an event for that many people, busing them in, having them there safely. What kind of food vendors are you going to have? Where are they going to be lodged? How do you get people who are going to agree to be on the stage of a gay black guy's event? You know what I mean? So, and to have people like Dr. King and others to, take on that stage. So, yeah, it was definitely a really good and powerful movie. Had some sad parts, some parts that were just like, it just showed how, although he was open, everybody wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, it's like, okay, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the fact that, you have somebody who loves you unconditionally, and yet you just don't
you don't even see them as that. You just think that they're always there.
Yeah, you can't commit to it. So, it's a lot of different layers that I think people can relate relate to as a, gay, straight, whatever. Like, I just feel like a lot of people can relate to. And it did cover a lot of historical events too, just in the speaking of things, where it would say, for example, that who was it? Oh, Medgar Evers, and how he got. So it's like, names of people that you had heard about or know through history, and it's like, oh, this is the stage in which that happened, and it was before the march, and this happened, and da 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 da.
You know what I noticed in the movie, which kind of stood out to me, is that every time something bad happened to Black people on the TV, he got angry and turned it off, and then it just fueled his fire for him to put it together more. Yeah. So like when they were doing all of the what were they doing, the bus boycotts and stuff like that, and then people were talking about how they just came up on the bus and like threw the Molotov cocktails and people were catching on fire, and then seeing the people on TV, like the young kids on TV that are getting like hit with hoses and dogs and stuff like that, and he's watching it and he's just so mad. That he just turns it off, and then we're getting to work. Yeah,
exactly. And come anything, we're gonna make this happen. And it doesn't matter that I happen to be seeing some of this in an office with a bunch of white people. I'm still gonna say my piece and let the chips fall where they may, because I'm not gonna allow that to hinder me from doing what I know is right. And he just was truly an advocate. He was. No matter what job he was going to be doing, he was going to be an advocate. He couldn't control it. So anyway, but that is the movie Rustin. I thought that it was really good. It's on Netflix. You got
to watch that.
You really should watch it. Watch the trailer. That'll give you some, indication of what it's about. But the movie itself, it's an easy watch. I don't even remember how long it is, but it keeps you engaged that you actually watch it. And you feel like you go on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster while watching it too. So, but all right.
But also it's like, it's the behind the scenes of a big part of history that nobody ever knows.
Nobody knew about.
Nobody knows.
Oh, and to clarify too, the Obamas helped to produce this. So they're executive producers on this.
Yeah, and if you look at the trailer, it shows President Obama sits there and he's talking about it.
Yep, exactly. So it's people who knew the story, but for some reason the masses didn't. So this was a way of having that unspoken hero to be recognized.
If you were in politics, you knew. If you won't, you don't know.
You didn't know. And some of the people who came to the event probably didn't know. So,
and then I love the ending too. Well, not the ending, but like when he was standing there after Martin Luther King was there, and he was talking and everything, and he just turned around and looked at him. Yeah. And then he looks at him, and then he just realizes, oh wait, all this I put this
all
together.
this is me, right? Exactly.
All this is me. And then they show it, and I was like, oh my God, where's Forrest and Jenny? But still, but like I was when they show it from down the mall, I'm just like, yo, that is so crazy. Yeah. I don't even think you can do that today.
Right. And I do like the fact that a Beyonce concert probably. If it was free Beyonce concert,
free.
Then
absolutely.
it would be that many people out there. But I will say that one of the things that Toby had mentioned as we were watching her. And caught her in a glimpse of her extra work that she was doing. She said the man beside me in this picture was at the march when he was 14 years old. Wow. His mom brought him. And so he was standing beside her, and they both had NAACP caps on because the part that she was at the march. So when you watch it, just so that you know, when you're watching the march, or everybody speaking, and they'll show the crowd. She was one of the people that was out in the crowd, but she's predominantly seen. Like, you can see her pretty well. You see her walking up when the gentlemen are singing. So if you're watching the scene, she's one of the people walking up when the gentleman is singing. And the guy who was actually at the march at 14 is walking right beside her. He's an older black gentleman. And so that was pretty cool. She also said that at the end, when Rustin decides that, because he said, look, I'm just a common everyday man. Nothing is making me any better or worse than anybody else. I will be a garbage man if you want me to be the garbage man. And at the end, he's basically doing that for lack of a better way of saying it. Right. Yeah. And so while he's doing that, there's a group of people who are singing and like holding hands in the background. And she's one of those people too. She was like, I think that's me right because it's kind of off in the distance, but it did look like the outfit that she was wearing. But then also the fact
that he was picking up trash and like the people were just stopped and just looking at him like, this man just put this together, now he's picking up trash.
Yeah, put together something that had 250,000 people and Martin Luther King, and you're going to just stand here and pick up trash. And the crazy thing is...
he should have went to go see the president.
Right, and that's the thing, is people were going to see the president, and they were like, you should be here, you should go, and he just,
he was just like, well, I said I was going to be a trash man, so...
Yeah, and it was almost like me being there will cause more harm than good because of the... So he was just like, no, you all go, and you could see the pain and like...
when they walked away,
I really wish I could go. But it was going to be about the wrong thing. Yeah. It wasn't going to be about the message.
It was going to be about him.
It was going to be about him being gay and blah, 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 and yada, yada, and he being outspoken and loud. And, so he just knew what was for the good, the cause, and that was most important to him. So,
absolutely. All right, it is great.
It's a really great movie. It is a great movie. I could watch it again. So that is Rustin on Netflix. So what you got, sis?
All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is on Max, and it is called Blue Beetle. This also is good and funny. Okay. I don't know what it is about DC and Marvel, but I feel like all they do is take each other's stuff.
Okay.
So Blue Beetle is basically like Ant-Man without being an ant.
Okay. So he's a beetle.
Yes.
So he's a beetle instead of an ant.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So just to give you some information about it. So the cast of Blue Beetle is, I will butcher these names, but I'm going to try my best. Zolo Maridueña plays Jaime, who is the Blue Beetle.
Okay.
You have Bruna Marquez. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Marquezine.
I don't know why we always try, honestly.
I don't know either.
We should just say, can you Google and IMDb the cast?
Yeah, look up the cast, because they're great. But then you do have George Lopez.
Who are the people that they're playing? Yeah.
Okay, so you have Jaime, who is the Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And then you have Jenny, who is the family of... It's actually the family of the people who went and got the beetle or whatever.
Okay.
I'll get into that. You have the man playing Alberto Reyes, which is Jaime's father.
Okay.
His sister's name is Milagro.
Okay.
And his mother's name is Rocio or something like that.
Okay.
Grandmother's name is Nana. Mm-hmm. Nana, that's it. And then his uncle is Uncle Rudy. So, this is the story of a young man that comes home from college. He's the first in his family to go to college.
Okay.
Nice little Hispanic family.
Mm-hmm.
First in his family to go to college. He comes back. They're all happy. They see him, smiling, kissing him, excited. And then he's like, I have to get a job because they're about to lose their home. Mm-hmm. So he's like, man, I got to get a job. So he goes and gets a job with his sister at some place. It's like I don't even know what it is, like some company place. And as they are doing that, Susan Sarandon walks in.
Okay.
And it's like, this is her place. So he's just like, hey, how you doing? And she just ignores them and keeps walking. Like, you're the help. Don't speak to me, peasant. That's kind of how she is. Okay. Yeah. So then him and his sister are in the house, and they're doing different things. And the niece comes, who is Jenny. She comes, and her and the aunt are kind of having some words.
Okay.
And then it cuts to something else. So, he has his job, and he's just like, man, what am I supposed to do with this job? He talks to Jenny, and Jenny was like, well, you know what? If you need a job, you might be able to stop by, and I might be able to help you out because I know my aunt's firing you. And as he does that, the next day he goes and is like, hey, I have a meeting with Jenny Cord. And it was like, does she know? It was like, yeah, she told me to come by today. While he's waiting for her, and he's walking around this facilities and stuff like that for this job, Jenny is actually in the family, like the company, I guess it's like their laboratory or whatever.
Okay.
And she takes the scarab.
Okay.
So she takes it, and then when she takes it now, they're looking for it, and it's all over. But she puts it in something that looks like a Mr. Bojangles box.
Okay.
But it was called like Big Beef Burger or something like that.
Okay.
She puts it inside of there, and it's like fries in there with it.
Oh, Lord.
So when she runs in, she bumps into Jaime, and he's like, "Hey, Jenny, like you told me I could meet you." She was like, "I don't have time to talk right now, but can you just take this? Don't open it, don't look at it, don't touch it,
but why did she
meet up
take
with
it?
you later." Because her and her aunt had words before about how she's not running the company, how the family wanted the company to be ran. Oh. So the aunt is so the father of Jenny, which he's not even in the movie, but they just talk about him. He is actually like a Tony Stark type person.
Okay.
And he makes things, well, I guess he would be, something like a Tony Stark type person. But he makes things to better, like, the world.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, Susan Sarandon's character is making things to better her. Like, she just wants to rule the world, basically. Okay. So, because they had that argument, she was like, oh, I gotta take this because that's not what my father wanted. She takes it, gives it to Jaime. Jaime takes it. He goes home. And they're just like, what are you doing? And he's just like, oh, I haven't opened it yet. They said he came home and they said, what, did you just bring back a burger? You went for an interview and you came back with a burger? And he was like, oh no, she told me not to open it, not to touch it. And then his sister described it. She said, she told you. So she opens it up and she's looking at it and it's just like the bug in there with like some fries. And then he was right when he goes to close it, his sister grabs it. And she's looking at it. And then his uncle grabs it and he's looking at it. And then he snatches it from his uncle's hand. And as he has it in his hand, it starts lighting up. And he's just like, what's going on? And then it jumps from his hand onto his face. And everybody in the house is screaming, but it is so funny how it happens. So like everybody in the house is screaming. Nana is hilarious in this movie. Nana's sitting there. She got her headphones on. She listening to some music. She's sewing while the living room is being destroyed.
She ain't paying no attention.
No attention. Because the scarab now has gotten into his body. And it's throwing him around different places because it's trying to find a host. And as it's doing this, she's just sewing. She's sewing her clothes. And then the lights go out. She's like, huh. And she taps the light comes back on, she finished sewing, and all you hear is like all in the background, which is hilarious. So it goes from there, and now it's just part of him, and he doesn't know what to do. So what does he do? He goes, finds Jenny, yo, look, what am I supposed to do with this? She's like, where is it? He was like, it's on me, it's in me, it's me now. And she was like, oh my God, so now you're like a symbiote or whatever. I don't know. But basically it's like it's trying to connect to you as a host. And he was like, yeah, because I feel like I can talk to it and understand it, like it's in my brain. Y'all can't hear what it's saying, but I can hear it, and it talks to me and I can talk to it, and it protects me. He was like, so I can never get hurt. So, you know, that was a good part of it. But what ends up happening is now Susan Sarandon's character and her number 2, which is, I can't remember that guy's name, but her number 2 is like trying to find him because they want the scarab back, and they want to kill him because the only way to get it back once it has a host is to kill the host.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's the movie.
And then it'll come out of him.
Because it won't be attached to anything. So that is the movie. It's just literally him trying to, he has this thing that he doesn't even want, and now Susan Sarandon and her number 2 are trying to come around and trying to kill him, and they're trying to kill the entire family. Gotcha. And it's sad. But Nana, Nana's a beast, okay? Nana talks about her days in the revolution, okay? Like they open up a drawer. They open up a door, right?
Yeah.
And because like the dude's like a Tony Stark kind of dude, they're looking at different stuff. So the daughter Milagro is looking at, I guess it's Jaime's sister. She's looking at stuff. She's like, "Oh yeah, I want this." And then they turn around and look at Nana. Nana has a minigun sitting on her hip like a strap around it. It was like, Nana, how do you know how to hold that so well? She was like, there's things about my past that you will never know. And then, but then the whole thing, I mean, it is just so funny. It's like Nana is the beast. But the whole thing is just them fighting back and forth, trying to figure out what's going on. George Lopez, who is the Uncle Rudy, he is a very technical, like genius type person. Mm-hmm. So what he does is he's just like, okay, look, boom, I'm gonna go ahead and get this, and I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna work. So they scrambled the security because he just had this thing that he made from like old generators and old pieces of stuff, and made it to where it would scramble the security TVs and put on some like cartoon show from like a Hispanic cartoon show from like years and years ago, and that's how they would be able to sneak in to try to like get some more stuff. So I mean, it's just. It's funny. I love it. It's some sad parts.
Yeah, of course.
Some sad parts, but
it's always sad. I mean, there's always like a little hint of something sad in a Marvel thing.
But I mean, it's funny. It's good. It's cute. I like it. I mean, it's out there. I feel like that could be like a family type movie. But and it is a lot of English and Spanish together, which I love because that's what it's happening when you have somebody who's Spanish speaking and English speaking, and not just speaking English the whole time. They're going to talk to each other in Spanish and talk to people in English because, that's their first language.
Exactly.
So I do like how they did that. How they worked that out.
They kind of went back.
They just made it seem like you're watching a actual Hispanic family, or Latin family.
Okay, no, I was looking at something on that. Maybe I saw part of the trailer. I don't think I saw the whole thing to know the full premise, but I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah. So it ends up being.
It's like Spider-Man, Ant-Man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird because it's like DC and Marvel, they just go back and forth. Because I was like, after I watched it, I was like, wait, is this a Marvel movie? And then when I looked at it, it had DC in small. I was like, oh yeah,
interesting.
Okay, but yeah, it's good. Check it out, Blue Beetle on Max.
All right, so I am going to talk about a show called Twin Love, and it's on Prime, Amazon Prime. Twin Love is the story. Well, actually, it starts off with Nikki and Brie, the two Bella sisters, who were the WWE wrestling sisters that are twins. You don't know anything about them. Okay.
So I haven't watched WWE since the Ultimate Warrior was on
I
there,
never watched the WWE, but I knew who they were.
Because of Stu. Shout out to my brother Stu.
Yeah.
But because of Stu, that's the only reason why.
So it's two twin sisters. I mean, they're twins, of course. Yeah. So two sisters that are twins that basically were in the WWE, and they ended up like getting married around the same time. They ended up pregnant at the exact same time. It's all of that, right? And so anyway, being twins, they have this show called Twin Love. So what they did is they said that this is a social experiment. What they are doing is picking two totally identical twins who look exactly alike, and they are pairing them with other identical twins who look exactly alike. So it is a story of 10 sets of twins, basically. So you have 5 sets of females and 5 sets of males. And how the story starts, or the show starts, is that both twins walk up and they look exactly the same. For the most part, you really can't tell. One or two of them, like one might be a little heavier than the other, one might be a little taller than the other, but the face,
like Herman Carl,
is exactly right. It's exactly the same face, and you can't tell them apart at all. And so what ends up happening is that they have, it's a whole dating thing, because the whole premise for what they told them when they came was that people who are twins typically fall in love later in life, have children later in life, lose their virginity later in life, because their person is their twin. Oh, yeah. And it's very difficult for somebody to separate the twins. Okay, yeah. So when somebody starts to date one, the other one gets jealous, and it's like this kind of interesting, intertwined.
That makes sense. It makes sense though.
Relationship, because you've been together since in the womb. So therefore, the whole premise is, okay, you come here, and as soon as they walk up, they're like, well, tell us about yourself. Oh, and like some of them, like they're talking exactly the same. So just imagine me saying twice, hi, how are you? And like both of them are saying it together, and they're like, "So, do you all always finish each other's sentences?" Not all the time, but that is exactly the same, So it's like they are together. Like, and some of them came dressed exactly the same. A few of them, like one had shorter hair, one had longer hair, so that helped me because I couldn't figure out some of their faces either. And so what ends up happening is that once they're there and the two twins are talking to them, they say, "Okay, well, the premise of the show is we have a garden house and we have a vista house. One twin is going to the garden house and one twin is going to the vista house." And you talk about separation anxiety.
Yeah, but I was wondering, I was like, do these twins still live together?
They, for the most part, most of them have spent every
waking
day
with each other.
They talk to each other multiple times throughout the day. And some of them had separated, like one went to one college and one went to the other. But it was still extremely difficult to separate in this instance because you're like, I'm getting ready to date. You are my person who I go to when I'm trying to date. Yeah. I'm always bouncing ideas off of you. I'm always asking you questions. I can't have you in my corner to ask these questions to and to engage with about all of this. So it's too tough for them. So basically, some of them start crying. Aww. Some of them are just like, oh my God. Or you'll find what's interesting, the more extroverted twin is like, okay, I'm good. And the other one is like, no, don't leave me.
Oh,
please don't leave me. It was so emotional.
I couldn't watch that show.
It was so emotional because you could just see that they were just like, oh my God. And then the other one gets to the house and they're like, they just need to break out of their shell. They're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And then 2 episodes later, that one that thought they were okay is like, I miss my sister so much. And it's just like, so both of them, there was rarely a situation where both of them that somebody didn't have a breakdown at some point. It was men, it was women, it was whatever. I mean, you didn't all of them didn't do it, but you could tell like
it was still
exactly.
Hard.
And the way they had it was almost like Big Brother, where the cameras are in the bedrooms and stuff like that. So like the men had all 5 men slept in one room in bunk beds, and then all. Not bunk beds, twin beds, and then all the women slept in one room in beds, but they could react to each other and engage with each other because the social experiment was what happens when you're separated from your twin and you have to make all these decisions on your own of who you're going to date and who you truly like. And oh, by the way, this is a person who gets you.
Because they're also a twin.
They know how hard this is for you right now because they're going through the exact same thing. They're used to their twin maybe not always having the most positive things to say about who it is that they date, or all of those kind of things. So the thought was with the experiment is that in the end of this, you could have a number of couples who leave here and are stuck like glued to each other. And some of the girls were even saying like, wow, if we ended up leaving here and having children. And some of the twins, the crazy thing is some of the twins actually ended up being attracted to the other twin, but they didn't even know that the other twin was attracted to that person. So one girl, she was like, well, you are my brother's type. I mean, my sister's type for sure. So I'm assuming that my sister is going for your brother right now because that's her type, And it was really interesting to watch, being a psychology major in college. It was like they did the experiment of if you're on one side of the wall and somebody is like using a feather on your arm, what does your twin say is happening? Like, so they'll know, okay, here are 5 things. It's a cube of ice, it's a feather, it's a head scratcher, it's a whatever. Like, but what is of these 5 things, what is the thing that your twin is having happening to them and then on what part of the body? And you win points, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like, it's a head scratcher on the leg. And they were like, you're right. Like, how would you know that?
Yeah, because it's not even happening to you. It's happening to your twin.
And then there's other times where it was like, it's a feather on the arm, and it'd be like, no, it's a head scratcher on the head, or something like that. So, it was like 80% of them were wrong. They really didn't have that twin tuition. Okay. And then they were using words like that a lot too. They were like, the twin tuition. It's the
quintessential?
No, it was the, not the twinticy room or something, but it was like instead of a privacy room or intimacy room, it was a twintimacy room or something like that, like that kind of thing. So anyway, everything had a twin to it, but it was those kind of assessments. It was okay. We're going to have you both on 2 sides of a wall. You can't see each other. We're going to play a song. We're going to see how many times you both do the exact same dance move.
Oh wow!
And you would see like ding. You would just be like, oh yeah, they both dropped it like it's hot at the exact same time. Or they both went and did like the cowgirl at the exact same time. Or they both did the, so you could just see all those things. And then they were like winning points for that. And then occasionally what would happen is that while they're in the show, and they've gone through like a few days, right? Haven't seen my twin, don't know anything that's going on. And then all of a sudden there's a message that comes in. So it's twin formation. So then, you see what I'm saying? It's all these words.
Information.
So then they're like, oh, we have to go look at the TV. So then you look at the TV and you get to see your twin and what they're doing in their house, like snippets of what's going on. And how does that impact you? So, for example, if I see that my twin, like I'm not really connecting with anybody,
and
but I see that my twin is having, the time of their lives with that person, this twin, and that brother is in here with me, maybe we should start hanging out together because maybe that's the connection that I'm supposed to have because they look all cuddled up.
Yeah.
Why is it that he and I aren't cuddled up? So then you'll see sometimes that it's like, well, do you want to just have a conversation? We were just seeing our twins, like, hanging out. And then it became this whole thing of, well, my twin is dating your twin. So if we all are like a foursome couple, then our kids will be genetically brother and sister. Like, and they'll start going down those kind of conversations and stuff.
Which is so weird.
It's so weird.
Because there are two boys on TikTok that are brother cousins.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Identical parents to identical parents had kids, and they look identical.
That is crazy.
So they look like twins themselves.
Yep, because of the fact that their parents are twins. Crazy. And so that's the thing that is going on. So I found it pretty interesting. And it's one of those things where it's like you don't really think about, not being a twin.
Yeah.
You don't think about the separation from your twins that, because you're in this world alone,
Yeah.
And so when you have a twin, it's like there were some people who just couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then it was like, well, if you don't want to be here and your twin is having a relationship with somebody in the next room, if you leave, they leave. We have to keep these rooms exactly the same. And you have to make that decision of, do I take my sister or brother away from a potential love of their life, or am I going to say, you know what, I'll sit here and I'll suffer for them? Yeah. Then you have the scenario of, okay, people get voted out and new people come in. So, new twins come in. So what ends up happening, let's say, for example, I'm building a relationship with this person, right? My twin is not building a relationship with, my twin is building a relationship with a whole different person, right? That different person that they're building their relationship is on an island by themselves over here. So when we have a person to vote out, guess what? It could be that person who hasn't made a connection to anybody. And now because we're voting that person out, now this other, and so there was one scenario where this guy got voted out, but he was feeling so bad because he was like, oh my God, I'm not connecting with anybody. I'm trying, but it's not working. My brother is over there living his best life. He is so happy with this girl. Like he is in love. I can see it on the screen when I get my little twin formation.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, he's like, if I get voted out, like that's going to be terrible. So then what ends up happening is, guess what? He gets voted out eventually, and then he has to go into his brother. He has to pick his brother up.
Oh, that's horrible.
From his suite, So everybody has to stand in the foyer while he comes, and everybody's standing there waiting to see who's going to open the door because it's down to like two people. And then when he comes in, and he just is bawling because he's like, I am so sorry, I'm taking you away from this. And the girl's crying, the guy's crying, it was just this really emotional thing.
So is it that they get somebody per house to leave? Mm-hmm. So it could be potentially 4 people leaving at once. No.
It was always one person who leaves, and then one other person comes in. So the way it would be.
I mean, like, okay, so because you said it's two, it's like one set of twins over here, one set of twins over here. All right. So does each house votes?
No.
Okay.
1 week, one house votes. The next week, the next house
that's
votes.
what I was trying to figure out. It was like potentially 4 people could leave, or it's just 2 people who leave per episode.
So you just don't know who's going to get voted out. So they didn't know the flow of that at first. They didn't realize that this is going to happen. I mean, it's a brand new show. Yeah. So they didn't know somebody was going to get voted out. They didn't know that something was going to happen. They didn't know new people were going to show up, like all of that. Yeah. And then at the and so when the new people show up, then all of a sudden people who are in couples are like, okay, wait a minute. Like that might be a little eye candy. Or the guys are like, oh, she's super, super hot, like kind of thing. Because they're always going to pick cute people to come in and energetic and bubbly and all of that. And so, so it was kind of interesting because one of the times this guy came in and he was Pakistani, and all the girls were like tall, dark, and handsome. He was a real estate agent. He's got that nice watch on. Like, he's looking good, right? So then all the women scheme. Now, some of them have boyfriends in the room, in the place. Yeah. But it's not like, that. But anyway, they were like, okay, we're going to do this scam. We're going to play truth or dare. And all the women are going to dare the other woman to kiss him. Like, that's going to be the dare. Okay. And so it was like, D, I dare you to kiss. And his name was Love.
Oh, of course.
So it's like L-U-V. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I dare you to kiss Love. So then they're like, okay. So then they kiss Love.
And then it's like.
And then when she sits down, she's like, I
dare you to kiss Love.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. And I'll take her. So she would kiss Love. So the men just had to sit there and watch. And then it was like, okay, Susie, I dare you to kiss Love. And so they literally went around the whole thing. And he was like, I am the luckiest man in the world.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's loving it there.
He loved it. He was just like, and you could just see him like after each kiss, he's like trying to wipe off lipstick and stuff. And he's like, okay, who's next? Like, who's coming next? I got it. I'm ready,
He's living the best life.
Living the dream.
You know what they should have done to make a twist? Is they should have had 2 people that were fraternal twins.
Oh, no, this was perfect.
Because then neither house would know.
Yeah, the houses wouldn't know, but this is the whole social experiment of would identical twins be a match? Because at the end, 2 sets of identical twins match with another 2 sets of identical twins. Okay. So that's kind of part of it. There was one person who said she was Demi, and she was like, it's going to depend on the feeling, the relationship I get as to who I'm going to connect with. Like, it's not, I'm not picking anything, basically. She was mainly looking at the men, but, it was more like I need to have a romantic connection in order for me to want to continue with anybody. And so, but anyway, it was interesting. And then the last thing I'll share, and then we're going to end our show today, is that the last moment is, okay, who was voted to be the cutest, the sweetest, the most in love, the most amazing couple of the house, right? Uh-huh. People voted. The question is, we'll give you both $25,000 each for being the best, cutest, most amazing couple. However, now you have to decide, do you keep the $25,000 and give it to your love? Or do you give your $25,000 to your twin?
Do your twin.
So it's love or twin. Which do you choose?
Twin.
I won't say what the answer was, but
I'm gonna say twin because I don't know how long you're gonna love me, but I know my twin gonna love me forever.
Yeah. So the thing is like, okay, so if I'm there, and let's say it's me and Terry, and you're my twin, and then Terry has a twin, Tom and Terry, and me and you. Tom and Terry. So if I pick you, and I give you my money, and he didn't know I was going to give you my money, and then he gives me his money, now you and I walk away with the $50,000 because he chose love and I chose my twin. Or vice versa. She could choose Tom, or I could choose Tom, and then he chooses, or I could choose, what am I trying to say? Oh, I could choose him and he chooses Tom, and then they both walk away with it. So it's interesting to see, did this love really become a true love? So.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I would still, I don't care if it's true love or not, my twin. I don't care.
Your twin.
I have trust issues. Okay, so that would be
got you. Well, that's Twin Love. So it's on Prime, and so you might want to check it out. It's a quick watch. It's like 45-minute episodes. It's like 8 of them.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be good. I wouldn't be able to watch it, but it sounds good.
It's just a little emotional in the beginning.
Yeah, I can't do that. But
after that, they were fine.
I watch funny things. I don't want to cry.
No. A lot of it was insane. But anyway. All right. Well, that's it for Sestra-Tainment. Have an amazing week, everybody. And I hope you had a great Turkey Day.
Bye.